The cosmic deception. The vast emptiness of space stretched out before the MSS Hope, Earth's last desperate attempt at ensuring the survival of the human race. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge, her dark eyes fixed on the viewscreen, searching for any sign of a habitable world among the sea of stars. Behind her, the low hum of machinery and quiet murmurs of the crew filled the air, a constant reminder of the 10,000 souls in cryosleep, counting on her to find them a new home. Captain, we're picking up an anomalous reading at bearing 047 Mark 198. Lieutenant Kai Chen called out from his station, his voice tinged with excitement. It's like nothing we've ever seen before. Elena's heart raced as she ordered. On screen, maximum magnification. The view screen flickered, and gasps echoed across the bridge. Before them loomed a colossal structure, a latticework of gleaming metal and pulsing energy fields that dwarfed their ship. It was unmistakably artificial, a testament to an advanced civilization that humanity had only dreamed of encountering. "My God," Elena whispered, "we're not alone." As the Hope cautiously approached the megastructure, a transmission crackled through their communications array. The message, delivered in perfect English, shocked the crew into silence. "Greetings, travelers from Earth. We are the Galactic Council, and we welcome you to our humble home. Please, approach and dock. We have much to discuss." The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity. As the Hope docked with the enormous station, Elena led a small delegation to meet their hosts. They were greeted by a diverse array of alien species, each more fantastical than the last. At the forefront stood a tall, willowy being with iridescent skin and multifaceted eyes. "I am Zarthal, High Counselor of the Galactic Alliance," the alien said, its voice melodious and soothing. "We have long awaited your arrival, children of Earth." Elena, still struggling to process the situation, managed to reply, We're honored, High Counselor. But how did you know we were coming? How do you even know about Earth?" Zarthal's expression shifted into what Elena assumed was a smile. "We have been observing your world for centuries, Captain Rodriguez. Your species' potential is remarkable, and now, at last, you have joined us among the stars." Over the next few days, the humans were given a grand tour of the Council's facilities. They marveled at technologies beyond their wildest imaginations. Matter replicators, faster-than-light communication devices, and even the ability to manipulate gravity itself. The Council members were gracious hosts, answering questions and sharing knowledge freely. On the third day, Zarthal made an offer that seemed too good to be true. "We would like to offer your people a home," the High Counselor announced. "A pristine world, similar to Earth, where your kind can thrive and grow. In exchange, we ask only that you share with us your unique scientific and cultural knowledge." The human delegation was overjoyed. It seemed their desperate journey had ended in the most fortunate way possible. Plans were quickly made to awaken the colonists and begin the integration process. However, not everyone was convinced of the Council's benevolence. Dr. Amelia Frost, the Hope's xenobiologist, couldn't shake a feeling of unease. "It's all too perfect," she confided to her friend and fellow scientist, Dr. Tariq Hassan. "Why would such an advanced civilization need anything from us?" Tariq nodded, his brow furrowed in thought. "I've noticed some inconsistencies in their historical records too. It's subtle, but there are gaps and contradictions that don't add up." The two scientists decided to dig deeper, using their access to the Council's databases to search for answers. What they found chilled them to the bone. Hidden beneath layers of encryption, they discovered the truth. The Galactic Council was not a benevolent alliance, but a parasitic empire. They absorbed new species into their collective, strip-mining their knowledge and resources before discarding them. Earth was to be their latest victim. As Amelia and Tariq raced to inform Captain Rodriguez of their findings, alarms blared throughout the station. Their unauthorized access had been detected. Elena, having just finished overseeing the awakening of the first group of colonists, was confronted by a suddenly menacing Zarthal. The High Counselor's friendly demeanor had vanished, replaced by cold, calculated malice. "I'm disappointed, Captain," Zarthal hissed. "We offered you paradise, and yet you chose to pry into matters beyond your understanding. Now, I'm afraid we'll have to do this the hard way." Council security forces, heavily armed and armored, poured into the docking bay where the Hope was moored. They began herding the confused and terrified colonists into processing centers, separating families and friends. Elena, realizing the dire nature of their situation, acted quickly. She managed to send a coded message to her XO, still aboard the Hope. Omega Protocol. Protect the sleepers at all costs. What followed was chaos. The Hope's defense systems, thought to be primitive by Council standards, roared to life. Experimental weapons, developed in secret during their long journey, caught the Council forces off guard. Amelia and Tarek, pursued by Council guards, managed to reach a group of sympathetic aliens, members of species previously absorbed by the Council who had been silently waiting for a chance to rebel. With their help, the two scientists fought their way to the station's power core. Meanwhile, Elena and a small group of loyal crew members orchestrated a daring plan. Using the confusion of the battle, they began to guide as many awakened colonists as possible back to the Hope. The ship's eye, a highly advanced system that had been kept hidden from the Council, coordinated their efforts. As the fighting intensified, Amelia and Tarek reached the power core. With the help of their new allies, they initiated an overload sequence. Klaxons wailed as the station's systems began to fail. All colonists returned to the Hope immediately. Elena's voice boomed over the station's hijacked communication system. "This is not a drill. We are leaving." The scene at the docking bay was one of desperation and heroism. Humans and rebel aliens fought side by side, holding off Council forces as colonists streamed into the Hope. Elena stood at the airlock, personally ensuring that as many people as possible made it to safety. Just as the station's power core reached critical levels, the Hope disengaged from its docking clamps. The ship's engines roared to life, propelling them away from the megastructure as explosions began to blossom across its surface. As they pulled away, Elena watched the view screen with a mixture of relief and sorrow. They had escaped, but at a terrible cost. Thousands of colonists had been left behind, their fates unknown. The promise of a new home had turned into a nightmare. In the ship's medical bay, Amelia tended to the wounded, including Tariq, who had been injured in their escape. She couldn't help but feel a sense of guilt for her role in uncovering the truth. "We did the right thing," Tariq assured her, wincing as she dressed his wound. "Who knows how many future civilizations we've saved from the Council's clutches." On the bridge, Elena stared out at the stars, the weight of command heavy on her shoulders. They were alive, but now they were fugitives in an unfamiliar and hostile galaxy. The Hope's AI calculated their position, confirming Elena's fears. They were hopelessly lost, with no way to return to Earth. As the adrenaline of their escape faded, the reality of their situation set in. They had no home, limited resources, and had just made an enemy of the most powerful force in the known galaxy. Yet, as Elena looked around at her crew, humans, and their new alien allies working together, she felt a glimmer of hope. "Plot a course," she ordered, her voice steady and determined. "We'll find a safe haven. And then we'll find a way to stop the Council." They wanted to see humanity's potential. Well, they're about to get a first-hand demonstration. As the Hope vanished into the depths of space, the first chapter of humanity's greatest adventure came to a close. The cosmic deception had failed, but the true test was just beginning. In the face of overwhelming odds, humanity would need to summon every ounce of its legendary resourcefulness, courage, and determination to survive, and perhaps to forge a better future for all sentient beings in the galaxy. Rebellion in the Stars. 3 months had passed since the MSS Hope's daring escape from the Galactic Council. The ship, now home to a ragtag fleet of human colonists and alien refugees, drifted through an uncharted sector of space. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood in the makeshift war room, studying star charts with her diverse crew of advisors. "We can't keep running forever," growled Crix, a hulking reptilian being whose species had been one of the Council's earlier victims. "Our supplies are dwindling, and the Council grows closer every day." Elena nodded, her face etched with the strain of their constant flight. "You're right. We need a place to regroup, to catch our breath." She turned to Dr. Amelia Frost, who had been poring over sensor data. "Any luck finding a suitable planet?" Amelia's eyes lit up. "Actually, yes. There's a small planetoid about 2 light-years from here. It's harsh, mostly rock and ice, but its unique magnetic field should hide us from Council scanners. It's not much, but it's a start." Elena decided. "Helm, set a course." The Hope and its accompanying vessels limped into orbit around the desolate world they would come to call Haven. As teams began to establish a rudimentary base on the surface, Elena couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something crucial. It was Zora, a young ensign with a knack for xenorchaeology, who made the discovery. "Captain," she called out, her voice crackling over the comm. "You need to see this." Deep beneath Haven's frozen surface, Zora's team had uncovered the remains of an ancient alien outpost. The technology was like nothing they had ever seen, more advanced even than the Council's. Dr. Tariq Hassan, still nursing his injuries from their escape, hobbled through the excavation site. "This architecture," he mused, "it predates the Council by millennia. We may have stumbled upon the remnants of a precursor civilization." As the days turned to weeks, the refugees of Haven worked tirelessly to unlock the secrets of the ancient outpost. Bit by bit, they began to reverse engineer the alien technology, incorporating it into their own systems. The breakthrough came when they activated a device that appeared to be a powerful energy source. As it hummed to life, holographic star maps flickered into existence, revealing a network of similar outposts scattered throughout the galaxy. "This changes everything," Elena breathed, her mind racing with possibilities. "With this technology, we might stand a chance against the Council." But their newfound hope was short-lived. Alarms blared as a Council scout ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the system. "They found us," Crix snarled, already moving towards the defense stations. Elena's mind worked quickly. "No, wait. This is an opportunity." "Amelia, is the cloaking technology operational?" The scientist nodded hesitantly. "It's untested, but theoretically, yes." "Then here's the plan," Elena announced, her voice filled with determination. "We use the cloaking device to hide the majority of our people here on Haven. Meanwhile, a small team takes the Hope to draw the Council away." The next few hours were a flurry of activity as the plan was put into motion. Elena handpicked her crew for the mission. Crix for his tactical knowledge, Amelia for her scientific expertise, Zara for her intuition about the alien tech, and a handful of their most skilled pilots and engineers. As the Hope broke orbit, leaving the cloaked outpost behind, Elena felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on her. They weren't just fighting for survival anymore. They were about to take the fight to the Council itself. The Council scout ship took the bait, pursuing the Hope as it led them on a wild chase through a nearby asteroid field. Using their newly acquired technology, Elena's crew managed to outmaneuver the larger vessel, eventually disabling its engines with a well-placed shot. "Boarding party, prepare for insertion," Elena commanded. "Remember, we need intact data cores, and any intel we can get our hands on." The assault on the Council ship was swift and precise. Years of pent-up rage against their oppressors fueled the rebels as they fought their way to the bridge. In the end, they stood victorious, with a treasure trove of Council data at their fingertips. As Amelia sifted through the captured information, her eyes widened. "Elena, you need to see this. The Council, they're not as united as they appear. There are factions, splinter groups unhappy with the leadership." Crix leaned in, his reptilian features twisted in a grin. Sounds like the makings of a proper rebellion to me. Over the next several months, the rebels of Haven launched a series of daring raids against Council supply lines and outposts. Word of their exploits spread through the underground networks of oppressed species, inspiring pockets of resistance across the galaxy. Elena found herself transformed from a starship captain into the leader of an interstellar rebellion. The Council, caught off guard by the sudden uprising, struggled to maintain its iron grip on its territories. But it was during a raid on a Council communication hub that they made their most significant discovery yet. Hidden among the data streams was evidence of a highly classified Council prison world, a place where the most troublesome dissidents and brilliant minds from conquered civilizations were kept. If we could free those prisoners, Amelia mused, we'd gain not only more allies but potentially game-changing knowledge and skills. The decision to attack the prison planet was not made lightly. It would be their riskiest operation yet, with the potential to deal a crippling blow to the Council's power structure. As the rebel fleet assembled in the shadows of a gas giant, Elena addressed her crews. The Hope, now upgraded with reverse-engineered precursor tech, stood at the forefront of their armada. Today, we strike at the heart of the Council's power. Elena's voice rang out across the communications channels. Not for vengeance, but for freedom, for hope, for a future where no species lives in fear of annihilation or enslavement. The road ahead will be dangerous, but together we will forge a new destiny for all sentient beings in this galaxy. A chorus of cheers, human and alien alike, answered her words. As the fleet jumped to faster-than-light speed, Elena felt a surge of pride and determination. They had started this journey as refugees, lost and alone in a hostile universe. Now, they were the spark of revolution, ready to set the galaxy aflame with the indomitable spirit of freedom. The prison world loomed before them, a foreboding sphere surrounded by defense platforms and Council warships. As the rebel fleet dropped out of FTL, Elena gave the order that would change the course of galactic history. All ships, engage. For Earth, for Haven, for every world that has suffered under the Council's tyranny. Attack. The battle for the prison world had begun. And with it, the next chapter in humanity's astounding journey among the stars. The Council was about to learn a harsh lesson. Never underestimate the power of the human spirit, especially when it burns with the fire of rebellion. The Prometheus Gambit. The liberation of the Council's secret prison world, now dubbed New Hope, had been a resounding success. However, the victory came at a steep cost. The rebel fleet, while triumphant, had been decimated. The MSS Hope itself bore the scars of intense combat, its hull pocked with plasma burns and breaches hastily sealed. In the command center of the newly established rebel base on New Hope, Captain Elena Rodriguez stood before a holographic display of the galaxy, her face illuminated by the swirling stars. Around her gathered the unlikely brain trust of the rebellion. Dr. Amelia Frost, the xenobiologist turned master of alien tech. Crix, the reptilian tactical genius. Zara, the young ensign whose intuition had proven invaluable. And their newest ally, Professor Lyra Sassoni, a brilliant Asari scientist rescued from the prison world. The Council will retaliate, Crix growled, his scaled hand clenching into a fist. We've bloodied their nose, but they'll come back harder. Elena nodded grimly. Agreed. We need a game changer. She turned to Professor Tassoni. You mentioned something about the Central Archives during your debriefing. What can you tell us? The Asari's eyes glimmered with a mix of excitement and trepidation. The Central Archives is the heart of Council power. It's not just a repository of information. It's the source of their technological superiority. Every innovation, every secret from every subjugated race, it's all there. And you know where to find it? Amelia asked, leaning forward with interest. Sassoni nodded. I was part of the research team there before I disagreed with Council methods. It's hidden in the core of an artificial planetoid, deep in Council space. Elena's mind raced with the possibilities. If we could access that data, We could level the playing field, Zara finished, her young face alight with determination. And so, Operation Prometheus was born. Named after the Titan who stole fire from the gods to give to humanity, it was a plan as audacious as it was desperate. A small team would infiltrate the central archives, steal critical data, and escape with the secrets that could turn the tide of the rebellion. The team was assembled with care. Elena would lead, with Amelia for her scientific expertise, Crix for combat and tactics, Zara for her intuition with alien systems, and Professor Tisoni as their guide. They would travel in the Hope, now retrofitted with the best stealth technology they could muster. As the day of the mission dawned, Elena addressed her crew one last time. What we're about to attempt has never been done before. The risks are enormous, but so are the potential rewards. No matter what happens, know that your courage and dedication have already changed the course of history. Now, let's go steal some fire. The journey to the Central Archives was tense, each moment fraught with the possibility of detection. Tisoni guided them through little-known hyperspace routes, skirting the edges of Council patrols. Finally, they arrived at their destination, a nondescript planetoid that belied its true nature as the most secure facility in known space. Using codes that Tisoni had memorized before her imprisonment, they managed to slip past the outer defenses. The Hope, cloaked and silent, settled into a maintenance dock on the planetoid's dark side. "Remember," Elena whispered as they prepared to disembark, "we're here for the data. Avoid engagement if possible. If we're discovered, the mission is blown." They moved through the sterile corridors of the archives like ghosts, their path cleared by Tisoni's inside knowledge and Zara's uncanny ability to predict patrol patterns. But as they delved deeper into the facility, the true scale of the archives became apparent. By the stars, Amelia breathed as they entered the central chamber. Before them stretched a vast cavern, filled with crystalline structures that pulsed with light, the physical manifestation of the collective knowledge of 1,000 civilizations. "We'll need to access the main terminal," Tisoni explained, pointing to a platform suspended in the center of the chamber. "From there, we can download the core data." As they made their way across a narrow bridge to the platform, alarms suddenly blared to life. "Intruder alert," an emotionless voice announced. "Security lockdown initiated. Move," Elena shouted, and the team broke into a run. They reached the terminal just as energy fields sprang up around them, cutting off their escape. Crix immediately took up a defensive position, his plasma rifle at the ready. "How long do you need?" Elena asked as Amelia and Tisoni's fingers flew across the alien interface. 10 minutes, maybe less," Amelia replied, her voice tense with concentration. "You've got 5, Elena said grimly, drawing her own weapon as the sound of approaching security forces echoed through the chamber. What followed was a desperate battle against time and overwhelming odds. Crix and Elena held off wave after wave of council guards, their superior tactics and desperation making up for their lack of numbers. Zara worked feverishly to keep the security systems at bay, her young face beaded with sweat as she matched wits with the AI protecting the archives. "Got it," Amelia finally shouted, holding up a data crystal glowing with stolen knowledge. But their victory was short-lived. As they turned to flee, a new figure entered the fray. High Counselor Zarfel himself, his iridescent skin gleaming under the harsh lights. "I must admit, I'm impressed," the alien leader said, his melodious voice at odds with the cold fury in his multifaceted eyes. "You've come further than any beings have in millennia. But your journey ends here." "You're wrong," Elena replied, her voice steady despite the fear coursing through her. "Our journey is just beginning. Humanity will never bow to tyrants like you." With a gesture from Zarfal, the air itself seemed to warp around them. "You have no concept of true power," he hissed. It was at that moment that Zara, acting on pure instinct, jammed her newly developed quantum disruptor into a nearby control panel. The resulting feedback pulse rippled through the chamber, momentarily disrupting the Council's advanced technology, including Zarfel's personal defenses. Now, Elena shouted, and the team sprung into action. In the chaos that followed, they managed to fight their way back to the maintenance dock where the Hope waited. As they lifted off, alarms blaring and weapons fire peppering their hull, Elena allowed herself a moment of fierce pride in her crew. They had done it. They had struck at the very heart of Council power and escaped with the most valuable prize in the galaxy. But as they jumped to hyperspace, leaving the archives behind, Elena knew their troubles were far from over. They had the data, yes, but now they needed to decrypt it, understand it, and use it to turn the tide of the war. And Zarthal, humiliated and enraged, would stop at nothing to see them destroyed. As the Hope raced through the swirling corridors of hyperspace, the weight of their accomplishment, and the challenges yet to come, settled over the crew. They had stolen fire from the gods. Now they had to learn to wield it without burning themselves in the process. The Prometheus gambit had succeeded, but the true test still lay ahead. The fate of humanity, and indeed of all free species in the galaxy, now rested on what they would do with the knowledge they had claimed. Elena looked at the glowing data crystal in her hand, feeling the weight of countless civilizations' hopes and dreams. "Take us home," she ordered, her voice quiet but filled with determination. "We've got a rebellion to win." Awakening the Ancients. The rebel base on New Hope was abuzz with activity. Weeks had passed since the daring raid on the Central Archives, and the stolen data had proven to be both a blessing and a curse. Dr. Amelia Frost and Professor Lyra Tassoni worked tirelessly, sifting through the vast troves of information, searching for the key that would turn the tide of the war. Captain Elena Rodriguez stood before the holographic star map, her eyes heavy with fatigue but burning with determination. Crix lounged nearby, his reptilian features set in a permanent scowl. "We're running out of time," Elena muttered, more to herself than anyone else. "The Council's retaliatory strikes are getting closer. We need a game changer." As if on cue, Amelia burst into the room, her face flushed with excitement. "We found it," she exclaimed, brandishing a datapad. "Elena, you're not going to believe this." The team gathered around as Amelia and Tassoni explained their discovery. Hidden deep within the stolen data was information about an ancient species known as the Precursors. This long-lost civilization had achieved technological marvels far beyond even the Council's capabilities. "But here's the kicker," Tassoni said, her eyes gleaming. "We believe we found the location of a precursor Dyson sphere. And if the data is correct, it's still active." The implications were staggering. A Dyson sphere, a megastructure encompassing an entire star, harnessing its energy output, could provide them with power beyond imagination. But more than that, if they could awaken an ally with these ancient beings, they might stand a real chance against the Council. "Where is it?" Elena asked, her mind already racing with possibilities. Amelia's expression turned grim. "That's the problem. It's in the Veiled Sector." A hush fell over the room. The Veiled Sector was a region of space so dangerous that even the Council forbade travel there. Spatial anomalies, gravity wells, and unpredictable radiation storms made it a navigator's nightmare. "Well," Crix growled, breaking the silence, "at least the Council won't be expecting us to go there." The decision was made. They would take their best ship, the upgraded and battle-tested Hope, and a small, elite crew. Their mission: navigate the treacherous Veiled Sector, locate the precursor Dyson sphere, and somehow make contact with beings who had been dormant for millennia. As they prepared for departure, young Zora approached Elena. "Captain," she said, her voice unusually hesitant, "I've been having dreams about the sphere, about what we'll find there." Elena studied the young ensign carefully. Zora's intuition had saved them more than once. "What do you see in these dreams?" Zora's eyes seemed to look through Elena, focusing on something distant. "Great power," she whispered, "but also great danger. We're not the only ones seeking the precursors, Captain." With Zora's warning echoing in her mind, Elena gave the order to depart. The Hope slipped away from New Hope, plotted a course for the Veiled Sector, and jumped to hyperspace. The journey was harrowing. Navigating the Veiled Sector pushed their skills to the limit. Strange energies buffeted the ship, instruments failed unpredictably, and more than once they narrowly avoided being torn apart by hidden gravitational shears. Finally, after what felt like an eternity of white-knuckled navigation, they emerged into a system that defied belief. Before them hung a star, but it was almost entirely obscured by a vast lattice of technology. The Dyson Sphere. By all that's holy, Amelia breathed, staring at the readouts. It's bigger than we imagined. The energy output, it's off the charts. As they approached the sphere, they encountered their first challenge. The surface was dotted with what appeared to be docking ports, but each was sealed behind impenetrable energy fields. It's a puzzle, Tisoni realized. The precursors wouldn't have made access easy. We need to figure out how to open a port. What followed was a grueling test of their collective intellect. Strange symbols flashed across the ship's screens, a language older than any they had encountered. Amelia and Tisoni worked feverishly to decipher it, while Zura seemed to enter an almost trance-like state, her intuition guiding her hands across the alien interface. Hours passed, and frustration mounted. But just as it seemed they had reached an impasse, Zura suddenly cried out, "I've got it." Her fingers flew across the console, inputting a complex sequence. Before their eyes, one of the massive docking ports began to open, energy fields flickering and dying. "Take us in," Elena ordered, her voice tense with anticipation. The Hope glided into the Dyson Sphere, entering a vast docking bay that could have housed 1,000 ships of their size. As the airlock cycled, and the team prepared to disembark, Elena addressed her crew one last time. "We don't know what we'll find in there," she said, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "But remember, we're not just fighting for ourselves anymore. We carry the hopes of every free being in the galaxy. Whatever happens, we face it together." As they stepped onto the floor of the precursor structure, their suit lights illuminated a scene of breathtaking complexity. The architecture was like nothing they had ever seen, organic yet mechanical, flowing lines intersecting with impossible geometries. They'd made their way deeper into the structure, guided by faint energy signatures. The air was stale but breathable, preserved for eons by technology they could scarcely comprehend. Finally, they entered what appeared to be a vast control center. In the middle of the room stood a pillar of swirling energy, pulsing with a rhythm that seemed almost alive. "This is it," Tisoni whispered, "the central core. If we can interface with it, we might be able to awaken the precursors." But as they approached the core, a voice boomed through the chamber, a voice they knew all too well. "I must thank you," said High Counselor Zarthal, stepping out of the shadows with a contingent of elite guards. "We would never have found this place without you to lead us here." Elena's blood ran cold. Somehow, the council had followed them, had let them solve the puzzle of entering the sphere. "You don't know what you're dealing with, Zarthal," Elena warned, her hand inching towards her weapon. "The power here, it's beyond any of us." The High Counselor's laugh was chilling. "Oh, but that's where you're wrong, Captain. We've studied the precursors for longer than your species has wielded fire. We know exactly what this power can do. And now, it will be ours." As Zarthal's guards advanced, the team found themselves backed against the energy pillar. It was Zora who acted first, driven by some instinct she couldn't explain. She reached out and touched the swirling energy. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The entire chamber lit up, and a voice, or perhaps many voices layered together, filled their minds. "The silly PRs awaken. Who CLs US from our slim beer?" In that moment, as human, alien, and the unimaginably ancient consciousness of the precursors converged, Elena knew that the fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The next few moments would determine not just the outcome of their rebellion, but the future of all sentient life. With a deep breath, Alina stepped forward, ready to speak on behalf of not just humanity, but all those who yearned for freedom in the face of tyranny. The awakening of the ancients had begun, and with it, the final chapter of their cosmic struggle was about to unfold. Battle for tomorrow. The vast chamber within the precursor Dyson sphere hummed with an energy that seemed to vibrate through reality itself. Captain Alina Rodriguez stood at the precipice of history, facing not only the awakened consciousness of an ancient godlike species, but also the cold, calculating gaze of High Counselor Zarthal and his council forces. "We are those who seek freedom," Alina spoke, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "We stand against tyranny and oppression, fighting for the right of all sentient beings to chart their own destiny." The precursor consciousness stirred, a sensation of curiosity rippling through the minds of all present. "And you?" It directed towards Zarthal. "What do you seek in our domain?" Zarthal stepped forward, his iridescent skin shimmering with barely contained excitement. "We seek order, great ones, the power to unite the galaxy under one rule, to end chaos and bring true peace." "Peace through subjugation is no peace at all," Alina countered, her eyes blazing with conviction. As the two factions pleaded their cases, the precursor consciousness probed their minds, sifting through millennia of history in mere moments. The chamber fell silent, the tension palpable as they awaited judgment. Finally, the voice spoke again. "We aavzent paths you biofi idwalke. The future is uncertain, but the choice must be made. We will aid those who truly seek balance and growth." With those words, tendrils of energy shot out from the central pillar, enveloping Alina and her team. Knowledge flooded their minds, secrets of the universe, technologies beyond imagination, and the true history of the galaxy. Zarthal's enraged cry broke the moment. "If we cannot have this power, then none shall." He raised a device, its purpose clear, to destroy what he could not possess. But Zara, acting on the newfound knowledge surging through her, raised her hand. A pulse of energy erupted from her palm, disintegrating Zarthal's weapon and sending the council forces stumbling back. "We need to go," Crix growled, already moving towards the exit. "The council fleet will be on us any moment." As if in response, the Dyson sphere shuddered. Outside, the council armada had arrived, their weapons bristling and ready to destroy the precursor structure and everyone in it. "We can't let them destroy this place," Amelia said, her eyes wide with the implications. "The knowledge here, it could revolutionize life for every species in the galaxy." Alina nodded, her mind racing with possibilities gifted by the precursors. "We won't. Professor Tassoni, can you interface with the sphere's systems?" The Asari scientist nodded, her hands already dancing across a newly materialized control panel. "I can, but Alina, we're outnumbered 1,000 to 1 out there." A grim smile crossed Alina's face. "Numbers aren't everything. Zara, Amelia, you're with me. Crix, get our people back to the Hope and prepare for battle. It's time to show the Council what humanity can really do." As Crix led the rest of the team back to their ship, Alina and her chosen crew worked feverishly with Tassoni to bring the Dyson sphere's ancient defenses online. Outside, the Council fleet opened fire, their energy weapons splashing harmlessly against the sphere's now active shields. "Weapons charge," Zara reported, her young face set with determination. "But Captain, there's something else. The precursors. They left us a gift." Before Alina could ask for clarification, space itself seemed to tear open. From the rift emerged ships, hundreds of them, then thousands. The rebels they'd left behind on New Hope, the oppressed species who'd answered their call for freedom, and even some council ships flying rebel colors. "How?" Alina breathed, scarcely believing her eyes. "The precursors," Amelia explained, her voice filled with awe. "They didn't just give us knowledge. They gave us the means to share it instantly across the galaxy. Everyone who stood with us, they know what we know now. Alina's calm crackled to life, Crix's gravelly voice filling her ear. Captain, the Hope is ready. And we got some friends out here eager to lend a hand. A fierce grin spread across Alina's face. Then let's not keep them waiting. All ships, this is Captain Rodriguez. Today we fight not just for ourselves, but for the future of every free being in the galaxy. The Council thought they could control the narrative, keep us divided and weak. But today we show them the true strength of unity. All ships, engage. What followed was a battle that would be remembered for generations to come. The rebel fleet, armed with precursor technology and driven by an unbreakable spirit, clashed with the Council armada in a dazzling display of tactical brilliance and raw determination. Alina, coordinating from within the Dyson sphere, was a force of nature. She directed the flow of battle with an almost prescient awareness, anticipating the Council's moves and countering them before they could gain any advantage. Crix led a daring assault on the Council's flagship, his strike team cutting through their defenses with surgical precision. Amelia and Tisoni worked in perfect sync, unlocking more of the sphere's capabilities to turn the tide of battle. And Zara, the young ensign whose intuition had guided them so far, found herself at the heart of the precursor consciousness, becoming a conduit for its vast power. With a thought, she could redirect the energies of stars, creating gravitational eddies that scattered Council formations or opening hyperspace rifts that swallowed entire squadrons. As the battle raged, Alina received a transmission from an unexpected source, a Council ship hailing them on a secure channel. "This is Admiral Cora of the Fifth Fleet," a stern voice announced. We've seen the truth, the lies we've been fed. We stand with the rebellion." One by one, more Council ships broke ranks, turning their weapons on their former allies. The monolithic facade of Council unity crumbled, revealing the fractures that had always existed beneath the surface. High Councilor Zarthal, his own flagship crippled and burning, made a final desperate broadcast. "You fools," he raged. "You'll doom us all. Only through absolute control can we." His words were cut short as his ship erupted in a brilliant explosion, the victim of a precision strike from the Hope. As the last of the Council loyalists were routed or surrendered, a cheer went up across the rebel fleet. They had done it. Against all odds, they had overthrown a regime that had stood for millennia. But Alina knew their work was far from over. As she gazed out at the battered but victorious fleet, she felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. They had won the war, but now came the hard part, building a lasting peace. "Attention all ships," she broadcast, her voice carrying across the stars. "Today we've written a new chapter in galactic history. But our story is just beginning. The knowledge of the precursors is a gift, and with it comes great responsibility. We will not repeat the mistakes of the Council. We will build a new future, one of cooperation, of mutual respect, and of true freedom for all sentient beings." As the cheers of trillions echoed across the cosmos, Alina allowed herself a moment of quiet pride. Humanity had not only survived its trial by fire, but had emerged as a beacon of hope for the entire galaxy. The battle for tomorrow was won. Now, the work of building that brighter tomorrow could begin.